1.1 somehow got even better. Along with all of the content and quality of life updates we've been blessed with so far, which I'm sure you guys are having a blast with, we have also received a buff in echo farming and even more of a reason to pull Changli. You know, just in case her more obvious reasons weren't enough for you. Just before we jump right into it, I do want to say thank you for the support recently, and especially on my last video, which had some nice and hilarious comments. I am very thankful and would appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Wuthering Waves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Okay, so in regards to the echo drop rate buff, you'll only have access to it once you reach Mount Firmament. So if you haven't reached Mount Firmament in the story just yet, I would advise to not spend that much time on farming echoes till you do. Of course, kill any echoes you see, but to hunt down a specific 3-cost echo is something you may want to avoid for now. Now, similar to the Sonus caskets throughout the entire map you pick up and deliver to the NPC in Jinzhou for rewards, you'll want to do the exact same thing in Mount Firmament with wind chimers. These are scattered all over Mount Firmament, and you'll want to come over to this NPC to deliver them. Along with acquiring the final 2 sequence nodes for Spectra Rover, which is great alone, you can also pick up the hidden gem, being the sweet and sour pork recipe. So the echo drop rate buff that changes everything will come in the form of a food item, which once you consume will buff your echo drop rate by 50% for 30 minutes. It is quite surprising how this wasn't mentioned at all and it being as valuable as it is. The standard echo drop rate, which is indicated in the databank, is 20%, and with the food item providing a 50% increase, it might lead some of you to believe the drop rate will be increased to 70%. However, that isn't the case, as the echo drop rate would instead be raised to 30%, as it's a 50% increase to the 20% drop rate. A food buff providing more than double the standard drop rate for echoes would have been a bit overkill, since farming for echoes is what keeps a lot of players coming back to hunt for, so it would defeat the purpose of a massive aspect of the game. So regardless of how significant the increase is in the drop rate for echoes, an increase is still going to be valuable, as it will definitely make a difference in how quick an echo will drop for you, and you will accumulate a lot more with this buff active. When it comes to farming for echoes, there is a pity, you could say. With 3-cost echoes, you are guaranteed an echo drop on the 4th kill, and with 4-cost echoes, the 2nd kill will always guarantee a drop. The main issue I've had, and I'm sure other players have also experienced, is with the 3-cost and 1-cost echoes, since they are the most time consuming, and sometimes you actually do need to defeat 4 echoes for the guaranteed drop, which is likely going to provide you with the main stat you don't want. So this food buff is going to have a positive impact overall when it comes to farming for echoes now, since you'll be able to pick up more echoes, which of course means you'll have a higher chance of pulling the main stats you are after. As mentioned, you'll need to deliver the wind chimers to the NPC in Mount Firmament to unlock the recipe, so it will take you some time in order for you to acquire enough wind chimers. But if you are like me and will drop everything to pick them up to avoid having to come back for them, you'll likely have enough to unlock the recipe by the end of the 1.1 main story. However, if you still need to pick quite a few up, I would suggest using an interactive map to help you find enough wind chimers to unlock this recipe as soon as possible. So I will link an interactive map in the description for you guys to use if needed. Now, as great as this food item is, it does require quite a bit of credits to cook. The ingredients required to cook this food will be 1 premium gold incense oil, 4 raw meat, 4 flour, and 1 sweet and sour sauce. If you have been playing the game for a bit now, you may have accumulated a good amount of raw meat and flour, but even just needing the other 2 remaining ingredients, it's still going to be expensive, as 1 premium gold incense oil costs 10,000 credits, and 1 sweet and sour sauce costs 6,000 credits. So the total amount of credits just to make one of these would be 26,000 credits, meaning if you were to make a few of these, it would definitely stack up in credit consumption. So the point I'm trying to make is these are insanely valuable for the effect and due to their price. So you need to ensure you can utilize the buff for the entire 30 minutes it's active. Additionally, these ingredients are time gated, as you can only buy a limited amount of each a week, with the premium gold incense oil being limited to 5 a week. So it might be a good idea to just start stacking up on these and slowly accumulate a bundle of them over time, even if you haven't got the recipe unlocked, since then you'll have a good amount of these ingredients when you are able to make this food item. Also, considering how expensive these are to make, I would highly suggest to only use this food item when you reach databank level 21. Databank level 21 is without a doubt one of the best updates in 1.1, since you are guaranteed gold echoes every time an echo drops. So to be really efficient with this buff active, you'll want to make sure you are increasing the drop rate for echoes that you will use rather than pulling 4-star echoes you wouldn't use. It will take a bit of effort to reach databank level 21 for those who are some levels behind, but it will be all the more worth it. However, if you are quite a long way from databank level 21 and you are stacked on shell credits, then it might not be a bad idea to use this food buff to increase your databank level, since this buff will allow you to pick up a lot more echoes and you'll be able to speed through the levels a lot quicker with it. So this food buff would provide great value even to players that have made it to Mount Firmament without really trying to level up their databank. Now the sweet and sour pork dish will be the best dish with this buff as it's a gold item. However, there is a purple rarity of this dish too, providing the same buff but just having a lower multiplier, being 20% instead of 50%. The purple variation is the lemon braised pork that you can pick up in exchange for 15 wood textured shards from the gift store in Mount Firmament. It will also be cheaper to cook than the gold dish since the prices for the ingredients aren't as expensive, but the difference in the multiplier is a whole 30%. So just maybe if your objective is to level up your databank level, then you could opt to run this food item over the more expensive variation, and when you are focusing on gold echoes for your characters, then use the gold dish. Again, it's really down to you and your shell credit situation. If you can buy a ton of ingredients for the gold dish, then go for it since it will benefit you either way. Just ensure you can make full use out of these buffs, and it might even be better to team up with a friend so you can hop into another world to keep on farming. I'm just glad Kura Games were able to somewhat address the issue with farming 3-cost echoes in the open world being too grindy. They have already done a lot this update, so this being an addition to the game was not expected at all. Another thing that wasn't expected was something regarding Changli. Now I don't know about you guys, but I was already sold on pulling for Changli over Jinchi due to many reasons. However, Changli had one more feature up her sleeve. So we were able to test play Changli during the 1.1 main story alongside Jinchi against a small boss. Now what a lot of players discovered, which I didn't even realize, was that each stack of Changli's forte gauge will actually change her appearance. When there's no stacks on the gauge, she will have her default look. When there's one stack in the forte gauge, a flame mark will appear just in front of her. Stack 2 will have the same flame mark and her coat will have a nice effect being covered in flames. Stack 3, the coat is completely removed since I'll assume it's burned off, and the final look with 4 stacks of the forte gauge, she wears a blindfold and becomes a Gojo fangirl. The most insane part is when you pop her liberation with 4 stacks of the forte gauge. The blindfold is still there during the animation and is burned right off her face. So the amount of detail Kura Games really invested into Changli is truly unbelievable. It's just a shame that they didn't allow Changli to go to stack 10 of her forte gauge, cause then even just using Changli during the trial with Jinchi, she felt a lot nicer to play, being much faster and the attacks felt so smooth to pull off. Honestly, I would have been impressed enough with Changli just going from her base form to her final look with the max forte gauge. But the attention to detail allowing us to see all 4 design variations of Changli as she progresses through the forte gauge is something I appreciate a lot. I do want to add, we are in 1.1 of the game, so this level in detail is something I would have expected much later down the line. So I am pretty hyped and excited to see what else they have in store for us when it comes to future characters and their unique traits. Overall, just wanted to bring some valuable information to you guys regarding how to access increased echo drop rates, and for the players that are still on the line between Changli and Jinchi. So maybe Changli having alternate designs throughout the forte gauge may have just convinced you to save for her. In regards to the echo drop rate food, I understand that some of you may believe the 10% increase might not be worth the credits it takes to cook the item. However, that's why it really depends on your credit situation. Of course, we all hit points in a game where we have literally no credits. And then there's points we'll have millions of credits since we've upgraded everything we can. So I do think it would be worth cooking the food item when you do have an excess amount of credits, since the 10% increase will ultimately help you pull the echo pieces you are hunting for a lot more sooner than later. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Wuthering Waves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also drop a comment on your thoughts on Changli's forte gauge feature and the new echo food item. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.